Legend says a goat herder named Caldi noticed his flock dancing with manic energy after eating some mysterious red berries. He tried them himself and felt the same buzzing jolt of electricity, accidentally discovering the world's most popular psychoactive drug. Today, we drink 2 billion cups of coffee every single day. It is the fuel of the global economy, the silent partner of the creative mind, and the reason many of us can even function before 10 in the morning. But how did we get here? How did a bitter plant from the Ethiopian highlands evolve into the foundation of modern society? The story starts in the 9th century in the Kaffa region of Ethiopia. Caldi might be a legend, but the biology is real. Coffee cherries contain caffeine, a natural pesticide that keeps insects away while providing humans with a temporary chemical hack for wakefulness. Local monks in the region began boiling these berries to survive long hours of nocturnal prayer. They weren't drinking a latte, they were consuming a concentrated, bitter decoction. By the 15th century, coffee had crossed the Red Sea into Yemen. This was the turning point. Sufi mystics used it to stay awake during religious ceremonies, but the effect was too good to keep hidden in a temple. Coffee moved to the streets. The first coffee houses, known as Kahve Khaneh, appeared in Mecca and Cairo. These weren't just cafes, they were radical hubs of social change. For the first time in history, people were gathering in public spaces that weren't tied to religion or the government. They were drinking a substance that made them alert and articulate. They played chess, they listened to poetry, and they talked politics. They debated the Sultan, they criticized the law. Authorities were terrified. In 1511, the governor of Mecca banned coffee, fearing it would foment rebellion. He ordered the coffee houses burned, but the genie was already out of the bottle. Coffee was too addictive, and the tax revenue was too tempting. The bans failed, and the beans began their march toward Europe. Venetian merchants brought the first bags of coffee to Italy in 1615. Initially, it was called the bitter invention of Satan. Catholic priests urged Pope Clement VIII to ban it, calling it a demonic beverage of the infidels. But the Pope decided to taste it first. He loved it. Legend has it he jokingly baptized the drink, saying it was a shame to let the infidels have all the good stuff. Once the Pope gave the green light, Europe went wild. By the mid-1600s, London had hundreds of coffee houses. They became known as penny universities. For the price of a cup of coffee, you could sit with the brightest minds of the era and engage in intellectual combat. These shops literally built the modern world. Lloyd's of London, the massive insurance market, started as a coffee house where ship owners and merchants swapped news. The London Stock Exchange began in a coffee house. Coffee was replacing beer and wine as the standard breakfast beverage. Before coffee, Europeans drank weak beer or ale from childhood because the water was too dirty. Productivity was low. People were effectively tipsy for most of the working day. Then came the caffeine revolution. Suddenly, the workforce was sober, sharp, and wired. The Enlightenment was fueled by coffee. Voltaire reportedly drank 40 cups a day. Isaac Newton and his peers built the framework of modern science in the haze of tobacco smoke and coffee steam. But there was a dark side to this rapid growth. European colonial powers realized that if they could control the coffee trade, they could control the world. The Dutch smuggled seedlings out of the port of Mocha in 1616. They planted them in their colonies in Java. Suddenly, the word Java became synonymous with the bean. The French followed, smuggling a single tree to the Caribbean island of Martinique in the 1720s. That one tree became the ancestor of nearly all the coffee plants in the Americas. This led to a massive expansion of the slave trade. Coffee is labor-intensive. It grows best in the tropical belt, and colonial plantation owners forced millions of enslaved people to work in brutal conditions to satisfy the European hunger for the bean. The global addiction was built on human suffering. By the 19th century, coffee became a staple of the American diet, especially after the Boston Tea Party. Drinking tea became unpatriotic, and coffee became the beverage of the patriot. During the Civil War, the Union Army issued coffee as a daily ration. Soldiers felt that without it, they couldn't fight. It was the only thing that kept them going in the trenches. The 20th century brought industrialization. In 1900, a chemist named Satoru Kato invented instant coffee, making the drug accessible to everyone, regardless of skill or equipment. Then, in 1946, Achille Gaggia invented the modern espresso machine. He used high pressure to push water through the grounds, creating the concentrated shot we know today. He gave us the crema, the liquid gold on top of the coffee that defined the Italian experience. The late 20th century introduced the third wave. Companies like Starbucks transformed coffee from a commodity into a luxury experience. Suddenly, you weren't just buying caffeine, you were buying an identity. You were buying a venti soy latte with a double shot. The price skyrocketed. Coffee became a $15 billion global industry, and yet the people picking the beans often lived in extreme poverty. We are now in the age of the super consumer. We care about the origin of the farm, the roast profile, and the acidity of the cup. We have perfected the science of the brew, but we are still chasing that same high that Caldi the goat herder felt on the hillside over 1,000 years ago. Why are we so obsessed? Caffeine is a stimulant that mimics the structure of adenosine, a molecule that tells our brain we are tired. When you drink coffee, caffeine blocks your adenosine receptors. You don't actually stop being tired. You just stop feeling the signal. You are essentially turning off the brain's stop button. This is the core of the global addiction. Our modern world demands constant, uninterrupted focus. We have designed a society that requires us to be awake when our biology wants us to sleep. Coffee is the bridge between human evolution and the demands of a high-speed, 24-hour economy. But look at the cost. We are so dependent on a chemical that we have built an entire global logistics network just to ensure that when we wake up, there is a hot cup waiting for us. We have cleared rainforests, disrupted local economies, and shaped trade policies, all to keep the caffeine flowing. Is coffee a miracle substance that spurred human intelligence, or is it a biological crutch that hides the fact that we are all just chronically exhausted? We drink it to create, we drink it to socialize, and we drink it to survive the Monday morning commute. We are the most caffeinated species in the history of the planet. And yet, if you look at the trajectory of our history, you have to wonder what we would actually be doing if we were forced to go cold turkey. Would we be less productive, or would we finally be forced to stop, look at the world around us, and realize that we have been running on borrowed energy for over 1,000 years? The cup in your hand is more than just a drink. It is a mirror of our history, our greed, our genius, and our desperation. You are part of a global, caffeinated collective that has never been more connected or more in need of a refill. We are still searching for the next high, still trying to outrun our own fatigue, and still waiting for the day we finally wake up, even without the coffee. Until then, we keep brewing. After all, the world doesn't stop, and neither can we.